let's start with the Ronald Araujo deal. Now, this is a bit of inside information that we got today, and I can't tell you where it came from other than it came from within inside Liverpool Football Club. If I told you where it came from, I'm putting somebody's job at risk. And as always, you can take this information and view it how you want to. I'm not going to tell you how to view it. So the information that we received today was an interesting one, and it is that it is very much a case of things being the tail wagging the dog in the club at the minute, and there isn't a bona fide plan in place for recruitment. There is a lot of scurrying around behind the scenes, and Liverpool now looking to open conversations with agents that they already have pre-existing or good relations with. But what makes it the most interesting was one key piece of information that we found out about the Ronald Araujo deal was that Liverpool didn't pursue that deal. That deal was brought to the club. That deal was brought from his side to Liverpool, and Liverpool then said, okay, let's explore this, and they got it done. So it wasn't that Liverpool went actively pursuing him. It kind of, I don't want to say fell into their lap, because there's still lots to be sorted out. But that was an interesting bit of information. And again, this comes from somebody within Liverpool Football Club, and they are... And look, I've spoken to people at all levels, to be honest with you. I've spoken to people who work in the hospitality side of it. I've spoken to people who work much higher up the club as well. And ultimately, it's a mess at the minute. There is no plan. This window hasn't been well executed. They've been scurrying around behind the scenes, trying to get a few bits done and trying to put a stick and plaster on the window. Now, doesn't mean we won't still get deals done. It doesn't mean that we won't be happy with the deals. But like I said, all the language that was used earlier on, all the bluffing and all the kindness that was shown towards the executives, the data-led recruitment team, it wasn't deserved. And I've said this over and over again. These lads are fucking spoofers, and they've been getting away with it for the longest time, and they haven't been doing their jobs properly. And case in point, this transfer window, as I suspected yesterday, is going to see Liverpool sell a few players. It's going to see Liverpool look to bring back in some money, because let's just play this out. If Liverpool if Liverpool brought Bradley Barcola in and just look at him, Xhaka and Victor Munoz, that's the guts of 210 million pound. So without Liverpool recouping serious money, that's more money than we spent net last summer. And that was the big window that I'm still hearing people talking about in club circles. So it always made sense to me that we'd see Liverpool not just bring in the Curtis Jones money, but maybe look to bring in more money. And of course, today we've seen the news that Cody Gakpo and Spurs has, well, livened up a little bit. And what I can also tell you guys is that Liverpool Football Club representatives today met with Ibrahim Mbaye's family and representatives, obviously, to discuss what wages might look like, what an outline of the deal may look like. But again, not done. May not even proceed to a bid, but there was a meeting today in the London offices between Liverpool executives and people from Ibrahim Mbaye's camp. Again, it was about what a broad-ranging conversation about what the deal may look like. Doesn't mean Liverpool are going to proceed with it. Doesn't mean they're not going to proceed with it. I don't know on that one. But I can tell you the conversation took place. Just like I told you the other day, the Curtis Jones representatives, Alexis McAllister's father, was in London for talks as well. And the next day that came out to be the case. So, as I said, we know where we source our information from. We don't always get things, but when we do, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it confidently because of the way it's sourced and how credible it is. Up to you what you do with it, as I always say. You want to push back, you want to challenge it, that's absolutely fine. All I ever ask is for everyone to be respectful towards each other and back to me. And if I can answer something, I will. But obviously you have to understand there are things I cannot discuss because I need to protect people whose livelihoods are at stake. Right, where are we? This one for Jeff. How are you, Jeff? Said, I hope Bezos isn't as stingy as FSG. I appreciate what FSG have done for the club, but they need to leave this stage for people who are more ambitious. So I'm probably with you, Jeff, mate. I don't have much resentment towards FSG. My gripe with them has always been pretty on the table. Like, I've always talked about, they just haven't done enough in the market. They haven't backed the managers enough, but they've done lots of great stuff that we have credited them for. Anfield looks magnificent now. The training ground's brilliant. We got Jurgen Klopp in. We won the Premier League twice. We won a European Cup. Like, there's no saying that these were terrible owners. They weren't. They were probably 80% of the way to being perfect owners. But that last bit, especially as the club has grown more and more, it made it more and more frustrating. And I've always said to you guys that the sporting director situation at our football club is an absolute disgrace. You've had so many people through the doors in that position and so many contracts go down to the bare bones, or players leaving for a fraction of what they should and would be worth. It's very difficult as a fan to hear that we have to make every penny count, and then to see Liverpool do things that, anybody would tell you isn't sensible and isn't good financial management and planning. So, yeah, hopefully we see a change of that as well when these new people come in and, they appoint an exporting director and other executives at the club. I hope that these people are here for the long term, and I hope that these people really do have the best interest of the club and not their own careers at heart. So that's where I'm at with all of that stuff. But of course, any questions, throw them in and I'll do my best to get to them. We've a lot to get through tonight. Where were we? Did I miss Dave Tim's one? No, I've done that one. I've done Jeff's one. Muldor. It's definitely strange. FSG are selling off a lot of their holding in club terms. Pittsburgh Penguins, now Liverpool, just makes me think. So there's been a lot of people who are far better versed on anything American sports related than me, suggesting that maybe FSG could be about to relook at the Las Vegas franchise again. So with the LA Lakers being sold the other day for an ungodly amount of money to a consortium that I think Jared Kushner's brother was at the head of, and that removes one of the stumbling blocks or one of the competitors for that Las Vegas NBA franchise that FSG may have had in their way. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them maybe look towards that. But again, I'm not saying that as anything as a cert. It's just things I've been reading in the media. Raekwon said, let's be honest, the job is too big for Richard Hughes and he's failed, yet he will not be held accountable for the damage left from the last 2 seasons. I agree with you, mate. I agree with you. And I'm one of the few lone voices that have been calling this shit out for a long time. It's easy to paint people like me as toxic or negative, but it doesn't mean what we're saying isn't true. It doesn't mean that what we're saying isn't well sourced, and it doesn't mean what we're saying doesn't have validity to it. And I would challenge anybody to look at what's happened since Richard Hughes has come in and tell me he's been a success. It doesn't take a lot to say the biggest number. And yes, he got Wirtz in, and yes, he got Isak in, but there's been some unmitigated disasters as well. They made a mess of the Zubamendi situation. They made a mess of the Canade situation. They made a mess of the Trent situation. They made a mess of the Diamande situation. So there's been an absolute mess. And some of these things have cost Liverpool Football Club substantial amounts of money. The Harvey Elliott thing I keep saying to you guys as an example, that's a £20 million mistake. So yeah, I'm going to be glad when this whole era is over and we get people in who actually, 1, want to be at the club, 2, are good enough to be at the club, because this is one of the biggest sports teams in the world and it deserves to be run the way it should be. And Richard Hughes hasn't been up for the job. He just hasn't. I told you guys so many things over the last couple of years that show that Richard Hughes is just not at the level. He just hasn't been. And this summer, and again, where's the plan? I'm fed up of reading these lads saying things like FSG's data-led recruitment is world-beating and everybody's a genius and everybody's top-notch and they're all brilliant, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it as a fan because it's bollocks. It's bollocks from people who have a vested interest in blowing smoke up their arse because they need the access. So I can only promise you one thing. I will always deliver my honest views on here, and I don't give a shit who it upsets. I don't care who at the club hates me. I don't care who wants to vilify me. I don't care, because I want this football club to be a success, and I want us fans to get what we deserve, which is people who are interested in the role, people who care about it like we do. Because we can't write off seasons as fans. We're emotionally and financially invested in them. These lads are going to be well compensated, and he's going to piss off and get well paid for his next role, despite the mess that he's leaving behind. And there was so much sympathy and so much goodwill when he came in, inheriting the situation with the Canade contract, with the Trent contract, with the Salah contract, with the Verge contract, and they fucked it up. They messed it up. And that's it. That is how I see it, and that is how many people in and around the club see it. And I dare say that is what a lot of people that need the club for their livelihood think deep down. They just won't say publicly because it will hit them in the back pocket.